What's up, YouTube? I'm Quentin Congress, aka QC. Welcome to another edition of Talking and Grubbing, where I provide the latest sports commentary while eating some good food. And about to get into some of this rice. This is one of my favorite foods, everybody. It's so good. You know, I know some people like sugar in theirs, but I love butter in mine. I don't get why people put sugar in rice. It's just not natural to me. Okay, now there's enough of that. Okay, recently the New York Post published a recent article about former NBA head coach George Karl and a few excerpts from his upcoming book called Furious George, which will be published next month. And they wrote in the article that he wrote some scathing reports about some former players he coached, especially Carmelo Anthony, which he coached in Denver from 2005 to 2011 before Carmelo demanded a trade to the Knicks. He also wrote some scathing comments about Kenyon Martin and J.R. Smith, and I'm about to read some of that to you now. And I'll also leave the link to the article down below in the description. I quote, Carmelo was a true conundrum for me in the 6 years I had him. He was the best offensive player I ever coached. He was also a user of people, addicted to the spotlight, and very unhappy when he had to share it. Karl continued, he really lit my fuse with his low demand of himself on defense. He had no commitment to the hard, dirty work of stopping the other guy. My ideal, probably every coach's ideal, is when your best player is also your leader. But since Carmelo only played hard on one side of the ball, he made it plain he couldn't lead the Nuggets, even though he said he wanted to. Coaching him meant working around his defense and compensating for his attitude. He also wrote, the volume of questions about Carmelo eventually wore me down. Sometimes I got so sick of talking about him that I just throw up my hands and say, I don't know what he is, and I don't care. Wow. Karl wrote, Anthony and Martin not having a father in their lives became a detriment to their personalities. I quote, Kenyon and Carmelo carried two big burdens, all that money and no father to show them how to act like a man. And also, he continued, Karl wrote Anthony was such a talented kid, he could have became the best defender at his position in the NBA. I want as much effort on defense and maybe more as on offense. That was never going to happen with Melo, whose amazing ability to score with the ball made him a star, but didn't make him a winner, which I pointed out to him, which he didn't like. Wow. And also, this part about J.R. Smith from the article, I quote, regarding Smith, Karl wrote that Smith's father, Earl Sr., urged his son to shoot the ball and keep shooting it from the very moment I put him in the game. Karl wrote Smith carried a huge sense of entitlement, a distracting posse, his eye always on the next contract, and some really unbelievable shot selection. When we traded JR in 2011, I was disappointed that I hadn't helped a clearly talented player advance his game more. Wow. This is, whew, this is some pretty deep stuff. He also kind of said some stuff about DeMarcus Cousins, but it wasn't really mentioned too much in this article or any other articles I read. You know, George Karl kind of comes off a little bit, no, I'm not going to say a little bit. He does come off as shady, greasy, and kind of unprofessional. I mean, it's one thing to talk about, to criticize these players' strengths and weaknesses, but you're taking personal jabs at them. You're taking personal jabs at Carmelo and Kenyon Martin, saying that all this money and they didn't have any father to teach them how to be a man. First of all, Carmelo's father passed when he was young, and also you're implying that Kenyon Martin's mother didn't raise him right. And Kenyon Martin, was on FS1's Undisputed Friday, defending himself as well as defending his family. And he said that Karl also said that J.R. Smith's father was around too much. He was like, which one is it? So, now I see why George Karl isn't a head coach in the NBA. It is a shame because he's a great coach. I mean, he has a tremendous amount of wins, and also he's been to an NBA Finals and a few conference finals, but maybe you never won a championship because of your attitude. I mean, you had no business throwing these players' personal lives under the bus. If you had whatever beef you had with them, you should have kept it private. You shouldn't have put it in this book. This comes off very greasy, and you come off very bitter, Coach Karl. Anyway, that's my commentary. Like, comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. And when you do subscribe, please click on the bell icon next to the subscribe box so you'll know when I upload new videos. Like us on Twitter, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. Anyways, to all my viewers and subscribers, love y'all to life. Till next time, y'all have a good one, and happy holidays. Peace. I'm about to finish the rest of this rice.